Now, from Nebraska's trusted news source, this is Channel 8 News at 10.
Now at 10, a right reaffirmed.
Everyone who comes here initially and might stay here permanently was concerned.
The U.S. Supreme Court has upheld birthright citizenship. What could come next in the legal battle? Then one-on-one.
Obviously, we respect the Supreme Court's ruling on birthright citizenship.
Channel 8 sat down with Senator Pete Ricketts today, where he stands on the decisions the High Court made today. Also, a fresh start. Fairbury is getting millions to clean up a former metal scrapyard, how the city plans to transform the site, and hope amid heartbreak.
Please, those of you who are here, help us. Help us.
Rescuers searching through the rubble in Venezuela, how a miracle survival is giving families some hope. We begin tonight with a severe weather alert for some parts of Nebraska. You know, it's all quiet here in the capital city after another hot and humid day as we take a live look with our network of cameras. But strong storms are trying to roll into portions of our viewing area. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Rod Fowler. As we get ready to welcome the month of July, let's find out what's brewing out there from Chief Meteorologist Rusty Dawkins, who's keeping an eye on things for us. Rusty?
I think we're actually going to try to welcome in the month of July, as hot as it's been already in June. We're kind of like, you can just hang out for a little bit. We have some much needed precipitation, but it is coming with a little bit of severe weather as well. So a severe thunderstorm watch is in place in the pink shaded counties until 2 o'clock in the morning, and does include some of our viewing area, the far western portions of it. But this goes again until 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's more storms out there too, which we'll look at right now. We've got a strong storm trying to move into south central Nebraska out of Kansas. That has been weakening as it gets closer and closer to Nebraska. And then there's so just kind of looking at that right now, you can see there's a severe thunderstorm warning between Hays and Salina, Kansas. Further north you go, the weaker that particular storm gets. And then this thing is trying to move into the Lake McConaughey area in and around Ogallala, and it has some pretty big hail and some very gusty winds as it moves north and east towards Tryon and Mullen. So keeping an eye on that storm as well. But in the capital city, very quiet. 21st and L Street, our Allocam, not much going on, just warm, muggy still. 84 in Lincoln, 85 in Beatrice, with those dew points in the middle 70s. So the heat index still in the 90s for a good portion of southeastern Nebraska, with a south wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. So we head through 11 o'clock. You can see those two areas of storms over there by Mullen and North Platte, and then just south of Holdridge. As we head through tonight, they continue. One moves to the east and the other one moves to the north. And then they all just kind of fizzle out shortly after midnight. So we'll talk more about this storm chance, the next storm chance, and how long this heat's going to stick around in the full forecast.
Thank you, Rusty. If you see any severe weather in your area, we want to know. Just scan the QR code on your screen and download the Now Local News app there. You can submit your photos and videos to let others know what your community is seeing. Plus, you can make some money in the process. Breaking now, votes are being counted in a closely watched primary in Colorado. You're taking a live look at one of several watch parties there. This all comes after several socialist candidates had success in New York's primary. Well, the same may be happening in Colorado. For example, you have a longtime Democratic representative trailing a Democratic socialist. We just checked. With about 73% of the votes counted, the incumbent is behind by about 4%. Well, right now, some major Supreme Court rulings are ringing through the country. One of the most highly anticipated decisions is about birthright citizenship. The justices going against President Trump's executive order, and some local families are letting out a sigh of relief. Channel 8's Mackenzie Johnson has the story after talking with an immigration lawyer today.
Everyone who comes here initially and might stay here permanently was concerned about what this meant for their families.
In a 6-3 vote on Tuesday, the Supreme Court deciding to uphold the 14th Amendment, which grants birthright citizenship in the U.S. President Donald Trump tried to end the right through an executive order, but the court voting to keep the rule, which says anyone born on American soil is a citizen, even if their parents are here illegally. The majority of justices explaining their decision, and it all boils down to this final paragraph, reading, quote, "Citizenship then and now was the right to have rights, to freely participate in our political community. The framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every free-born person in this land. We keep that promise today." David Zaritsky Brown is an immigrant himself and an immigration lawyer here in Lincoln. He says his team is celebrating the decision.
Our clients can breathe a sigh of relief that things aren't changing dramatically, that there's not chaos as to whether their kids will be able to get driver's licenses, passports, be able to travel with them, all of the things that would come with a decision that upheld this executive order.
Reaction pouring in from both sides of the aisle. The Nebraska Democratic Party saying in part, quote, America took one step forward in affirming birthright citizenship. But the Nebraska GOP says they're disappointed, writing in a statement, quote, the 14th Amendment was never intended to grant automatic citizenship to children of those here illegally or temporarily, and this decision got it wrong. Brown says this is likely not the end.
I was a little surprised by how close it was. And a little worried about what that means in the future. We may see some suggested pieces of legislation coming down the pipeline to strip people of their nationality based on birth.
His prediction could be coming to fruition. Not long after the Supreme Court's decision, President Trump posting this on social media, calling their ruling too bad for our country, and calling on Congress to start working today on ending birthright citizenship, saying they will have his complete support. Reporting in Lincoln, Mackenzie Johnson, Channel 8 News.
But President Trump is praising another ruling from the High Court today, upholding state laws that ban transgender athletes from playing on girls' sports teams. In a 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court today saying their exclusion is not a violation of Title IX and the 14th Amendment. It's been a heated national debate for some time now. Reaction tonight from both sides of the issue.
This is the best way to make sure that women and girls and transgender athletes have appropriate places to play that is fair and competitive.
The High Court's decision does not create a nationwide ban on transgender athletes playing women's sports, but just passes the power to the states to enact and enforce these types of laws if they choose, something the Nebraska legislature has already done. Only on 8, getting reaction on the Supreme Court's decisions today in a one-on-one interview with Senator Pete Ricketts. He was in the Lincoln area, and a chance for us to get his thoughts on the rulings and how they may affect Nebraska and the nation. Channel 8's Danielle Da Silva is on this story. Danielle?
This afternoon, Channel 8 given access to interview Senator Pete Ricketts as he made a stop in Waverly. He was touring the Tractor Supply Distribution Center there. During this tense political environment, I reached out to the independent candidate Dan Osborne's campaign, giving them the chance to answer the same questions. I sent the email to his campaign right before meeting with Senator Ricketts. About an hour later, after not receiving a response, I called them but was still unable to get a statement. On the agenda today, as I talked with Senator Pete Ricketts, the news grabbing national headlines.
It's just common sense that we want to protect our daughters and granddaughters.
Ricketts reacting to the court's ruling that keeps Nebraska's ban on transgendered athletes in place.
I have a ballot initiative that turned in the signatures today to be able to do just that, to give Nebraskans a chance to vote on it, to put it in our Constitution.
The senator referring to the Fairness for Girls Committee and their more than 200,000 signatures collected for the 2026 ballot initiative, a success for his party as they aim to bar trans women from participating in K-12 team sports at public schools. Next, I asked about the birthright citizenship ruling.
Obviously, we respect the Supreme Court's ruling on birthright citizenship.
The senator going on to commend the work of the Trump administration at the border.
Since for the last 13 months, not a single illegal immigrant has been released at the southern border into the United States. So this president has secured the border.
Finally, Senator Ricketts shared with Channel 8 his views on the newest party to petition for the 2026 ballot, addressing rumors that link him to the group.
I found out about the Working People's Party the same way everybody else did. I don't know any more than that, other than what you read in the papers. My campaign has nothing to do with this new political party.
Again, I reached out to the Osborne campaign, offering them a chance to respond to these same questions. We have not received a statement from their team at this time. Reporting from the newsroom, Danielle Da Silva, Channel 8 News.
Thank you, Danielle. Developing now a rising death toll with thousands still missing in Venezuela after those earthquakes. So far, it's estimated nearly 2,000 people have been killed. Search crews from around the world are continuing to dig through the rubble. Rescuers are still making remarkable discoveries, including right here, a 3-year-old boy who was pulled alive nearly a week after the earthquakes hit. Some loved ones of the missing say they want to be reunited with their relatives, whether they are living or dead.
Please, those of you who are here, help us. Help us. We have been waiting many days. We already know those bodies have been there for several days since Wednesday, but at least let us take our loved ones home.
The Geological Survey says there is a high likelihood the final death toll could reach tens of thousands, while the World Health Organization says hospitals across that region remain under significant strain as they treat thousands of injured survivors. Well, after the break, fighting the flames, state resources are now heading to northwest Nebraska again. How crews are now battling the growing log road fire. And all new tomorrow morning, new month, new permit. UNL switching to new annual parking permits. Wake up with Channel 8's Andrew Ward to find out what drivers need to know. That starts tomorrow at 5, 6, and 11 a.m.
Showers and thunderstorms are moving across parts of Nebraska this evening and will continue to do so as we head into the overnight. We'll take a closer look when we come back.
Developing now, state resources are being mobilized again tonight. Governor Jim Pillen declaring an emergency in Sioux County as crews battle a growing wildfire near Harrison. Firefighters are working to contain what they call the log road fire, which has now burned more than 1,000 acres. It's just north of where the South Fork fire burn was. The emergency declaration allows the state to provide additional resources and funding. Crews will work on controlling the fire through the night. New at 10, preparing for the worst. Plattsmouth Police and the Cass County Sheriff's Office are sharing scenes from a large-scale active shooter training exercise. Law enforcement and first responders taking part in realistic scenarios at a school there. It's designed to improve communication, coordination, and response tactics. Community volunteers also took part to make it even more realistic.
Now, your Storm Alert Team forecast with Chief Meteorologist Rusty Dawkins.
Lots to talk about this evening. We mentioned that fire that's out in northwest Nebraska. That's up in this area, and they're they might get some rainfall here shortly, but the heavier rain is right here, just west of North Platte, headed towards Lake McConaughey. This will make a beeline up through this severe thunderstorm watch, which we'll talk about here in a second. This doesn't have a watch with it and did have some severe storms associated with it further south, but now that it's made its way into south central Nebraska, it's weakening a little bit, which is fine. We use the rain, just don't need the severe weather. And then this, if you were in Lincoln, like myself, headed home for dinner, and you looked off towards the east, probably saw those clouds billowing up, and that's what that was right there. A pretty good storm system in southwest Iowa, but that's moving away from us. So a severe thunderstorm watch until 2 o'clock in the morning from O'Neill, Valentine, south and west towards the northeastern corner of Colorado. More on that in a moment. First, let's set the stage. Another warm day today, 92 degrees, 75 for a low, well above each. Not way above for the high, but a lot above for the low. This has kind of been the problem. We haven't been able to cool off lately. 48th and Cornhusker Highway, they've flip-flopped on me. Now this is open on this side, and now this side is closed. So we should mark this date down to see how long it takes them to. I'm sure they love that. Let's watching them closely like that. Temperatures in the 70s and 80s. 70 over in Chadron, 85 in Beatrice, Hebron at 85, 84 in Lincoln. A lot of 80s out there still, and a lot of 70s for Dew Point. 77 in York, 74 in Lincoln, 76 in Nebraska City. So a lot of 70s out there for the Dew Point. So still at 91 degrees for a heat index in Lincoln, 94 in Beatrice. A south wind, at least there's just a breeze at 5 to 10 or 15 miles per hour. So let's kind of go through these. That's interesting. Little false return right there. I'm not sure what that is. There's those storms over there on the other side of Nebraska City. Storms down here. This will try to make its way into southeast Nebraska. I'm not thinking it'll make it, and I'll show you why in a minute. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this just stays like it is and we see a good 1 or 2 inches of rainfall out of that, but I'll show you something here in a minute. And then this storm, again, a lot of wind and a lot of hail with this. Notice no lightning associated with this. Kind of odd with a strong storm like that, but that's moving to the north and east towards Tryon and Mullen. So this storm moving north, look at all that lightning there. And then this storm, not one bolt of lightning right by North Platte. It's just weird to see that. That's going to continue making its way towards Cherry County. So because of that, this whole area under a slight risk, where the severe storms were earlier, an enhanced risk. But we're all in this yellow shaded level 2 slight risk, a decent chance for some strong winds and maybe some hail. And that one storm over on the other side of North Platte has had tennis ball size hail associated with this. So the large hail swath is because of that one storm. That should make its way into north central Nebraska, and then on the edge, just maybe 1 inch in diameter. Everybody has a pretty good chance at some damaging wind, and this is why. This thing is going to split in half. Remember that storm that's down here that I said probably won't make it to Lincoln? This is why. There's that strong storm by 11 a.m. and then this strong storm PM by 11 p.m. That moves to the north and east. This stays to the north, heading towards Valentine and O'Neill. This one continues to move east, and notice it's already weakening. This stays strong through about 1 o'clock in the morning. See how it just doesn't make it? I hope this model is wrong, and it does. The stronger storms remain off to the north, and then we may see a little bit as we head through the morning hours on Wednesday in southeastern Nebraska. But again, what's happening out there right now will likely weaken before it makes it to Lincoln, but on and off showers and maybe a thunderstorm possible on Wednesday. Something we'll keep an eye on. Temperatures tonight in the 70s. Highs tomorrow, once again in the 90s. Lots of 90s in the forecast. A couple of 88s on Sunday and Monday. We do have storm chances as we head through tomorrow, Thursday. Small chance on Friday. Another decent chance on Saturday, unfortunately, on the 4th of July. And then small chances Sunday and Monday of next week. Weather trivia time. How fast does golf ball size hail fall? Is it 5 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, or 88 miles per hour?
Oh my goodness. You would think. 88?
I give you 2 tries because it's between 25 and 40 miles per hour. So those are the 2 answers, 25 and 40 miles per hour. It depends on how high up it is and what the wind's doing, but on average, it's anywhere between.
See, that's what I was going with.
I tried.
Oh, yeah. How high it was and everything. Yeah.
I know.
I'm scrambling here. Okay. Thank you, Rusty. Right now, a cleaner future for a southeast Nebraska city. The city of Fairbury is getting a major boost after landing a $2 million federal grant to clean up a former scrap metal site. City leaders say the U.S. EPA led the charge in getting the grant. The money will be used to remove contaminated soil and clean up the former Fairbury iron and metal property. Once corrections are complete, the city plans to redevelop the site into a public park, along with a Little Blue River, and connect it to Fairbury's River Walking Trail. And if you're flying out of Epley Airfield soon, expect a small detour inside Concourse A. These curtains have gone up in the center of the concourse as construction begins for The Mill, a coffee shop. Passengers are asked to follow posted signs to navigate around the work zone. New attend a congressional thank you to the voice of the College Baseball World Series.
Bill Judson and his predecessor Jack will forever be remembered as the voices of the College World Series. Thank you, Bill, and as you hit the button for the mic for the last time, Omaha says thank you. I yield back the balance of my time.
Congressman Don Bacon delivering the tribute on the House floor, honoring Jensen's decades of service in Omaha broadcasting as his 26-year run comes to an end. Coming up next, we head into the Sports Zone. Nate Johnson is talking a little football after Nebraska released its 2026 Hall of Fame class today. We'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
Now, from the Channel 8 Sports Zone, sponsored by Green's Furnace and Plumbing, here's Channel 8 News Sports with Sports Director Nate Johnson. The Channel 8 News Sports Zone.
Nebraska football announced their 2026 Hall of Fame class today, and it's got some pretty big names on it. Hey, thanks for tuning into the Sports Zone this evening. Now, there are plenty of names fans will remember, so let's dive into this 2026 Hall of Fame class. Starting with defensive back Charles Fryer, the 1980s era, offensive lineman Jim Scott in the 1990s, fullback Corey Schleisinger in the 1990s, I-back Corey Ross in the 2000s, and linebacker Levante David in the 2010s, as well as the late punter Sam Foltz in the 2010s. Joe Polensky is this year's State College inductee. The second annual Nebraska Football Hall of Fame Legend Award will be presented to Frank Solich, and Kemp Pavelka received the Lyle Bremser Special Merit Award. We caught up with Levante David the last time he was in Lincoln, and he spoke on just how special it was to be a Husker.
Yeah, it was very special for me, man. The thing about it was I just remember the relationships that I created, you know, when I was my time here. A lot of the guys who I played with, I'm still cool right now to this day. The community was welcoming to me and my family. And just the playing days, man. Those good times, fun times for me for sure. You know, kid coming from Miami, Florida, coming up here, playing, you know, this style of football was really cool. You know, getting a chance to play in the two different divisions in 2 years was crazy. And I definitely appreciate that, and you know, being able to have the success that I did have when I was here, this was definitely incredible.
Well, such a great guy, and he is so deserving of being nominated as a Nebraska Hall of Famer, as is everyone on the Hall of Fame class, which will be officially inducted at a ceremony on Friday, September 4th. Now, we also caught up with another former Husker today, Adam Carricker, who is gearing up for the second annual Carricker Chronicles Camp, which is next Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 1:15 p.m., which will feature a host of activities, including hearing from Tom Osborne. Here was Adam on the camp.
But when we moved here, we're like, we want to do stuff to help the community. We want to do something to bring kids together, give them a unique experience, opportunity, something that they can remember, something that brings the community together. And then at the end of it, give back more to the community. One of the cool things is the majority of the proceeds go to teammates, Team Jack, the Belmont Community Center, and also Scarlet Hope. It's pretty cool because there's actually 15 former Huskers. They're going to be at the camp. Every station will be led by a former Husker. There's also multiple people who played and or coached in the NFL and or played and or coached in college football. But it's going to be a lot of instruction, a lot of teaching, hopefully a lot of fun.
Looking forward to the camp. It was really cool being there last year, and super cool that Coach Osborne will be speaking after the camp this year. And thanks to Adam for coming up today, talking to us. To learn more about the camp, head to CarrickerChronicles.com. Finally, Nebraska Volleyball announced a new hire, that being Sean Smith, who will be the Director of Volleyball Player Performance and Development for the Husker Volleyball Program. Smith will oversee and coordinate the strength and conditioning program and lead individual player development plans for the Huskers. He had worked with DVK at Louisville for a little while as well. And that will do it for sports tonight. Rob, will go ahead and send things back over to you.
Thank you, Nate. We'll be back with a final check of your forecast right after this. New at 10, looking for a forever home. The Kearney Area Animal Shelter has some items ready for adoption. What are we talking about? A stack of wooden pallets. The shelter posted on social media that the pallets are free to anyone who can give them a new purpose, joking that no adoption applications or meet and greet is required. The pallets are located behind the shelter and available while supplies last, as they say. You thought, Rusty, I was going to talk about some cute little kitty or puppy or something
I'm
like
a sucker for those stories, but this one, you know.
Yeah. Pallets can come in handy. All right, let's get a final check of the weather. What are you seeing?
We have severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 2 o'clock in the morning, mainly for the western half of the state into north central and northwest Nebraska. There are storms out there, some strong storms trying to move into south central Nebraska. They have weakened, but still some gusty winds and a lot of lightning and hopefully some much needed precipitation. We'll zoom into that area here. First, there's a severe thunderstorm warning for Arthur and Keith counties. This goes until 10:15 local time, which is 11:15 Central Daylight Time. But that storm right there does have some severe stuff to it attached on the southern edge of it, but the further north you go, the weaker it gets, and it should weaken as it moves to the east, and then that storm will likely remain strong as it heads north and east overnight tonight.
Thank you, Rusty, and thank you for joining us. Andrew in Houston will be here bright and early at 5 o'clock. Jimmy Kimmel is coming up next. Have a great night.
Founded and operated by American veterans and patriots, we bring a warrior ethos to every case. We are Barry Law.
Let your voice be heard by sharing your photos and videos to the Now Local News app. Earn points and redeem them for gift cards. Scan the QR code to join.